We will start talking about calculated fields in Workday. So we have created reports. We have created business processes, security supervisory organizations, etc., etc. So, wherever we have created, wherever we have worked with, we have actually worked with data. We have worked with fields. When we hired a worker, we saw a job profile, employee name, pre-hire location. And then, when we created compensation eligibility rules, we worked with management level, the location, and we also worked on so many things. Now most of the information that we worked with, they were already available in Workday, isn't it? The job profile, the management level. All those information was already available in Workday in a format that was defined by Workday. Now what if we need to create something that is not existing in Workday? What if we have to change the format? What if we have to create a new kind of information that is not available as is in Workday? Then what should we do? So Workday gives you the ability to create calculated fields. Now, what are calculated fields? Calculated fields are new field definitions that you will configure, and it will allow you to manipulate data, transform, retrieve and derive values based on existing data. So some data would be there in Workday. So, based on that, we can derive, we can transform and, of course, we can manipulate that existing data and come up with new information. And why will we need this new information? Maybe for reporting purposes, maybe to do some interim calculations, and so on. So we might need additional information, and for that we would need to know about calculated fields. Now, what can calculated fields do? Calculated fields are very powerful and it helps us to do a lot of things like perform date calculations and formatting. We can do date calculations, write difference between two dates. We can add a date and find out, let's say, 45 days from today. What is 45 days from today? What is 45 days from the hiring date of a worker? What is the difference between how many days have elapsed between the 1st of January and today? How many days have elapsed in a month? So all these calculations can be done. You can change the date formatting like between YYYYMMDD, which is the default formatting of work. You can change it to any other date and time format using calculated fields. We can do mathematical calculations, right? We can do additions, subtractions, multiplications, divisions. We can do the absolute positive value of a particular number, and so on. You can manipulate text. We're using concatenation substringing formatting functions. Like you can convert a text to uppercase or lowercase. You can read a part of the string. Like let's say, my name is Krish. So I need to read only the first 3 characters of my name. So then, first 3 characters will be KRI. Now, if I create a rule for that, if I create a calculated field like that, then for every name that I'm reading, I will read the first 3 characters. Let's say for Shweta, I will read SHW. For Vidya, I will read VID, something like this, right? So I can create a calculated field which will read the first 3 characters of the worker's name. I can combine the first name and the last name together and make one simple long string. Like for Mohan Kumar, so how Mohan writes, his name is Mohan, space, and Kumar. So what if I want to convert that and make it one single string? So mohankumar, right, all together. So you can concatenate multiple strings together and make it one single string. You can also work with currency fields, right? Your compensation are typically currency fields, total annual base pay, etc. And if you are submitting an expense report, the expense report, total amount, etc. Those are currency fields, right? Currency fields are what? It has a numeric part and it has the currency symbol. So those currency fields can be converted. You can convert that into number. You can convert that into some other currency. You can derive range bands from numeric or currency fields. Like, let's say, you have the years of experience of employees, right? Between 0 to 5, you want to have them as, let's say, new. Between 5 to 10, you will have like okay experience. 10 to 15. You will have a category. 15 to 25, you will have a category. 25 plus, you will have a category. So, depending on the years of experience of the worker, you want to categorize that into some bands. Okay. So we will be able to create range bands from a numeric or currency. We can determine if a condition is true or not, right? Like, let's say, is the employee terminated? Yes. The answer can be yes or no. Is the employee a manager? The answer can be yes or no. Is job exempt? Is the job exempt? The answer can be yes or no. Is the worker in Paris and a manager? Write two conditions. Is the worker in Paris and is the worker a manager? So two conditions. Yes, we can create a calculated field for that as well. Okay. So we can drill down and look up levels. Like, okay, you know the top level organization. What is the organization? That is 2 levels and subordinate. You can find that out using calculated fields in hierarchies and organizations. And, of course, you can sum, you can count, you can aggregate information across related instances. And you can look up values in related objects. You can look up the age of a dependent using a calculated field. You do not need to use a report, right? You can use a calculated field to get that information right. So all of that is possible using calculated fields. It's very, very powerful. And there are a host of functions that will allow us to do that. Now in calculated fields, we will not need to use any programming. Okay. There are certain functions that we will use. So all we need to do is we need to know the capabilities of those functions and use those functions for the appropriate logic. We have to break it down into smaller pieces, and for each of those functions we have to use the Workday delivered functions. We will not be able to create our own functions, okay? We will use the Workday delivered functions. So here are the list of all the functions that we have in Workday. And they are grouped together in terms of the output that they are going to create. So we can. You are counting some instances, and so on. So what are these doing? They are converting. Each of these calculations is going to be a number, right? If you're counting, can you tell me, if I put two strings together, what kind of output would that be? I combine the first name and last name of a word, concatenate text, and what will be the output format? What kind of field will it be? What kind of data will it return? Will it be a number? It will be a text kind of field, right? It will be a text kind of field. Now if I find out the difference between 1st of January, 2022 and today. So I want to find out how many days have elapsed in this particular year. What will be my output type? I mean after the calculation. What will I get? I'll get the difference between 2 days, right, so it will be a number. I will be able to find out the number of days that have elapsed between 2 days. So what will that be? It will be a numeric, right? Because I'm going to get a number, the number of days that have elapsed in the year. The number of hours that have elapsed, let's say, between the start of the week and today. What will that be? What will be the result? B? The number of hours that have elapsed. Again, that would be a number, right? It will be a numeric. Okay. Now, if I am finding the day that is 10 days from today, what will that type of 10 days from today? It will be a date, right? Today's date plus 10 days. So it will be a date, okay. Now, for all of these, we have the calculation that these are your different functions that you have. And they are grouped together based on the output that they are going to create. Okay. So arithmetic calculation. Of course it will give you a numeric field, right? A convert text to a number. You're converting a text field to a numeric field. It is going to give you a number. You're counting related instances. It is a number, right? On the other hand, if you're concatenating text, if you're adding two strings together, it is a text output, right? If you are doing a substring, if you're reading a part of the string, the first 3 characters of the first name, right? So it will be a substring text. Now let me give you a quick assignment, okay? I want you to use a combination of calculated fields to come up with the result. Okay. So the objective that we are going to fulfill is I will just see if I can make it a bit smaller so that you have both the things in the page. I want